I filmed my brother hurting his girlfriend and got him jailed. My parents kicked me out for betraying family. I never thought I'd be in this position. Growing up, my family always prided itself on loyalty above all else. You stick together no matter what, no matter how messy things get. I was the good kid, the responsible one, the one who always tried to keep the peace. My brother, well, he was the wild card. Charismatic, charming, but with a streak that often left me uneasy. We're close-knit in the way some families are. Holidays are sacred, secrets are shared, and appearances matter. I never imagined that loyalty would become a weapon against me. My brother has been dating his girlfriend, let's call her Emma, for about 6 months. At first, everything seemed normal. She was kind, quiet, and always seemed a little tense around him. I noticed small things. Emma flinching when he raised his voice, avoiding eye contact, laughing nervously at things that weren't funny. I wanted to chalk it up to first relationship jitters, but deep down, something didn't feel right. The first real red flag came one evening when I went to pick up some groceries for my mom. I heard raised voices from the living room. I froze outside the door. My brother was yelling at Emma, something about leaving the dishes for him. She tried to calm him down, but he snapped, grabbed her arm roughly, and shoved her into the couch. She cried, but he just glared at me when he noticed I had seen. I wanted to run and scream, stop him, but something in me froze. I was terrified of making things worse. Over the next few weeks, I kept noticing small but troubling signs. Bruises she tried to hide, sudden silences, her apologizing for things that weren't her fault. My stomach churned every time I saw it, but the thought of confronting my brother alone scared me. He's strong, intimidating, and in our family untouchable. I couldn't just stand by. Every time I tried to rationalize it, my own moral compass fought back. Loyalty to family was ingrained in me. Yes, but was blind loyalty worth watching someone get hurt? The struggle tore at me constantly. Then it happened. One night, I stayed in the living room under the pretense of finishing homework. I saw him grab her roughly again, this time dragging her across the room. Something inside me snapped. I pulled out my phone and hit record. My hands shook, heart racing, but I knew I couldn't stop. I filmed everything. His aggression, her fear. The way he cornered her and yelled until her face was red. The adrenaline was overwhelming. I wanted to throw the phone, scream, run, but I kept filming. After it ended, I felt sick. I hid in my room, replaying the footage in my mind. The moral line had been crossed. I had evidence of abuse, but the weight of what I was about to do crushed me. I reported it to the authorities the next morning. The police came, asked questions, and eventually, my brother was arrested. Seeing him in handcuffs was surreal. The brother I grew up with, the one I defended countless times, was suddenly a criminal in front of my eyes. That's when my parents found out. Their reaction wasn't relief that someone was safe. It wasn't pride that I stood up for the vulnerable. It was anger, fury, betrayal. How could you do this to your brother? They demanded. Do you know what you've ruined? His future? Our family. I tried to explain, to tell them that he hurt her, that I couldn't stay silent. They wouldn't hear it. They said I had betrayed the family, turned against them, and had no idea the damage I caused. A few days later, they gave me an ultimatum. Leave the house. Pack your things. Go live somewhere else. I couldn't believe it. I had saved someone from abuse, yet I was being punished. I felt abandoned in a way I had never experienced before. The family I had believed in, the ones who were supposed to support me, had chosen my brother over morality. Now I'm out on my own, staying with a friend, trying to process everything. My brother is in jail, Emma is finally safe, and my parents, well, they see me as the villain. I keep replaying the events in my head. Was I right? Did I do the right thing? I know morally I did. But the cost has been immense. I lost my family in an instant. I keep thinking about what comes next. Do I try to repair things with my parents? Do I accept that they may never see things from my perspective? For now, I'm just trying to survive, trying to make sense of a life where doing the right thing feels like the worst decision I've ever made. I did what was right, but at what cost? Update 1. It's been a few weeks since I was kicked out of my parents' house. I still wake up some mornings hoping it was all a bad dream. But reality hits hard every time. I never imagined that standing up for what was right would leave me completely alone. Finding a temporary place to stay was harder than I thought. I stayed with a friend from college, someone I hadn't been particularly close with recently, but who offered a couch when they heard my story. Their apartment is small, cramped, and unfamiliar, but it's better than the cold indifference I faced at home. Each night, lying on a thin mattress, I feel the weight of loss, not just the physical comfort of a home, but the emotional support I had always taken for granted. I've always believed in my family. Loyalty wasn't just a value, it was law. We protected each other, we defended each other, and nothing mattered more than blood. I believed in that principle so much that I'd ignored small red flags in my brother for years, convincing myself that family comes first. Now, that belief feels like it's been used against me. I saved someone from abuse, yet my family views me as the villain. The cognitive dissonance is exhausting. Outside of my temporary home, social fallout is complicated. Some friends have been supportive, checking in, offering advice, or simply listening. A few of them have even reached out to Emma to make sure she's okay, validating the difficult choice I made. Their support is comforting, but it's also a reminder that I am navigating this alone. Other acquaintances, neighbors, and extended family have reacted differently. You should have let it go, some say. Family first, others insist. Every time I hear this, I question myself for a split second. Did I overreact? Could I have handled it differently? Every time I come back to the same answer. No. I couldn't stand by while someone was hurt. But the loneliness of being misunderstood, even by people I care about, cuts deep. The legal and emotional process has been draining. Court dates, police interviews, statements. None of it feels like something I would have ever expected to be part of my life. I've spent hours recounting events I wish hadn't happened, describing moments of abuse I had hoped I could forget. Emma has been strong, incredibly brave, but even she can't fully shield me from the emotional aftermath. Witnessing justice unfold is bittersweet. I know she is safe now, and my brother is being held accountable, but the cost has been immense. My family sees none of this. They see only a brother who's ruined, and a sister who betrayed him. Internally, the conflict never fully goes away. There are moments of guilt when I think about loyalty. I was raised to protect family above all else, and in some ways, I feel like I broke that sacred trust. But there's also pride that I had the courage to do what was right, even when it hurt the people I love. I've started journaling my thoughts, reflecting on boundaries, morality, and the toxic expectations placed on me. There is clarity in writing it down, even if the answers aren't simple. Therapy has helped. Speaking to a professional about the abuse I witnessed, the family fallout, and my feelings of betrayal has been eye-opening. I am learning that moral courage doesn't always come with comfort. Doing the right thing often means discomfort, isolation, and loss, but that doesn't make the action wrong. One of the hardest parts has been processing my parents' perspective. They truly believe that family comes first, and that I ruined my brother's future. It's painful to hear, but I'm slowly coming to understand that this is their lens, not the objective reality. My brother's actions, not my intervention, endangered someone. I cannot control their beliefs, only my response to them. A turning point came unexpectedly. One of my old mentors from college reached out after hearing what happened. They told me that they were proud of me, that moral courage is rare, and that protecting someone from harm is never a betrayal. Hearing that validation was like a lifeline. For the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope that perhaps I could rebuild without losing myself in the process. I've begun taking steps toward independence. I found a part-time job at a local bookstore. Not glamorous, but it gives me structure and a sense of purpose. I've started looking for longer-term housing, budgeting carefully, and considering the next steps for my life outside my family's shadow. Every small victory feels monumental. Making a cup of coffee in a space that's mine, choosing what I eat for dinner without judgment, talking openly with a friend. These simple things remind me that I am capable of standing on my own. Sometimes, I catch myself thinking about the past, about the family I loved and the home I lost. But the truth is, I wouldn't change what I did. I saved someone from harm. I upheld my values, even when they were at odds with my upbringing. And in doing so, I discovered a resilience I didn't know I had. The evenings are the hardest. Quiet stretches of time alone bring the memories rushing back. The fear on Emma's face, the anger in my parents' eyes, the helplessness I felt before taking action. But I am learning to sit with discomfort without letting it consume me. I am learning that strength isn't always about confrontation or victory. It's about holding firm to your principles, even when the world seems against you. I've also started to see small signs of rebuilding. Emma occasionally messages me to thank me again, just a short note, but it reminds me that what I did mattered. A neighbor who initially criticized me recently told me they've seen the truth of the situation, and even offered a small gesture of support. It's incremental, but it shows that right and wrong aren't always recognized immediately. Sometimes justice and understanding take time. I lost my family, in the way I always knew family could hurt the most. I lost the comfort of shared meals, holidays, and unconditional support. But I didn't lose myself. And that realization is both terrifying and liberating. For now, I focus on the next steps, building stability, reclaiming my sense of self, and learning that courage isn't always recognized by those closest to you. I am finally beginning to see that my life doesn't have to be defined by my family's expectations. It can be defined by my choices, my values, and my actions. I am still scared, still lonely, and still angry at the betrayal I experienced. But I am also starting to feel hope. Tiny, fragile, but undeniable. I saved someone. I faced my fears, and I have begun the long, painful, but ultimately empowering journey of creating a life that aligns with my moral compass. I lost my family, but I didn't lose myself. Final update. It's been nearly a year since I filmed my brother hurting his girlfriend and reported it. A lot has happened in that time, and I feel ready to share the final chapter. The legal process was grueling. Court dates, statements, and testimony stretched for months. Emma was strong and composed throughout, and I did my best to support her, even from a distance. My brother, well, he showed little remorse at first. In court, he claimed it was misunderstood or exaggerated. But the evidence was undeniable. The video I captured left no room for doubt, and the judge sentenced him to a year in jail with probation afterwards, plus mandatory anger management and counseling. Watching him in that courtroom, I felt a mix of relief and sorrow. Relief that justice was served, that Emma could finally breathe without fear. Sorrow for the brother I had once admired, who had thrown away his future and dignity through his actions. My parents' reaction, predictably, was a mix of disbelief and anger. They accused me of ruining his life, of being unforgiving, of taking everything away. They refused to acknowledge the abuse or consider that he had to face consequences. For a while, their letters and phone calls were hostile, guilt-tripping, or simply silent. I realized then that the relationship I had hoped to repair may never exist in the same way. I've learned something crucial through all of this. Family isn't just defined by blood or shared history. It's also defined by respect, ethics, and support. I lost my parents' approval, yes, but I gained clarity on my own values. I've rebuilt my life from scratch. I found a small apartment that I can afford, painted it my favorite colors, and made it feel like home for the first time in years. I took a stable job that challenges me but allows independence. Most importantly, I started therapy regularly, which has helped me process the trauma, anger, and grief that came from both my brother's actions and my family's rejection. Through this journey, I discovered my own strength. I learned that standing up for someone else, especially when it conflicts with family loyalty, doesn't make you disloyal. It makes you courageous. I've grown more confident in setting boundaries and prioritizing what is morally right over what is socially expected. Every time I look around my small apartment, I see evidence of a life that is mine, built on my terms. My relationship with my parents remains strained. I've chosen no contact for now, not out of spite, but for my mental health. I've realized that a family that demands blind loyalty at the expense of safety and ethics isn't a family I can rely on. I've accepted that they may never see things from my perspective, and that's okay. My well-being can't hinge on their approval anymore. I occasionally hear updates from mutual friends or distant relatives. My brother is doing his mandated counseling, but continues to resist fully acknowledging his actions. My parents occasionally reach out, still laced with guilt trips or lectures. But the truth is, their perception doesn't change reality. Emma is safe, thriving, and healing. That is what matters. One moment that still hits me hard came a few months ago. I received a short message from Emma, thanking me for having the courage to act when no one else did. She said my intervention saved her life, both literally and emotionally. I read it over and over, letting the words sink in. It was validation I needed more than anything my family could offer. I realized that morality isn't measured by who supports you. It's measured by the impact of your actions. I've also reconnected with a few old friends and mentors who remind me that there are people in the world who understand, appreciate, and support moral courage. I'm slowly building a community of people who respect boundaries and values, instead of conditional loyalty. These relationships have been instrumental in helping me feel like myself again. Reflecting on all of this, I see the toxic patterns I grew up with more clearly now. Blind loyalty, the expectation to protect family at any cost, and the refusal to acknowledge wrongdoing. All of it cultivated an environment where abuse could flourish unnoticed. I acted against it, not to punish my brother, but to protect someone vulnerable. That choice was hard, painful, and lonely, but it was necessary. I want to leave anyone reading this with one clear message. Safety, ethics, and morality come before blind family loyalty. Doing the right thing often comes with personal cost, but that cost is worth it when someone's well-being is on the line. It's terrifying to go against the people you love, but sometimes courage means choosing what is right over what is comfortable. Life now is quieter, slower, but peaceful in a way I never thought possible. My apartment smells like fresh coffee in the morning, and I've started cooking for myself. Small rituals that remind me that I am in control of my life. I have weekends where I can read, go for long walks, or just sit in silence without fear of judgment or confrontation. These small freedoms feel like victories. The biggest victory, though, is internal. I no longer question the morality of my decision. I no longer feel guilty for standing up to abuse. I no longer feel that loyalty to family requires sacrificing my principles or the safety of others. I am finally at peace with the choice I made, and with the family I cannot rely on. Looking back, I realize that this journey has reshaped me. I am stronger, more empathetic, and more resolute. I have learned that true courage isn't about bravado or confrontation. It's about choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. I didn't just save Emma. I saved myself from a life of moral compromise and silent complicity. So here I am, nearly a year later, sitting in my small living room, listening to the rain outside, sipping tea, and feeling a sense of calm I never thought I'd have. My brother is paying for his actions. My parents are distant, but their judgment no longer defines me. Emma is safe, and I am finally free. I lost my family, yes, but I didn't lose myself. And that, more than anything, feels like winning.